online learning.
Can you guys do question 1, please? Question 1.
What?
What's that?
Because did it work? I can check now. No, I won't do that. No, it's like, because what I tried to do is I tried to like expand on it, on the right hand side and try and increase it and that was it. And it works. So I'm just going to sign up. I'll start on the trainer. Okay. Yeah. So we started with the right hand side and then the tax right there. You get everything there. Okay.
You think nice? Okay, man.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right, have you guys done question 1? For question 1, you just need to use the formulas I gave you, right? So for example, if you want to work out Q hat at 0.1, right? Your P is 0.1, your N is 25, so N plus 1 times P is, will be what? It will be 2.6. And the integer part of that is 2, right? And therefore Q hat at 0.1 will be yeah. You remember the formula, this formula that I mentioned in the lectures. You remember this or not? Come on, guys. Yeah. So you sub in the numbers, which are 0.229, 0.6 multiplied by 0.639 minus 0.229, and the answer will be 0.475. All right. So the quantile at 0.1 is 0.475. And to find quantile at 0.25, you do the same kind of stuff, right? Your P is 0.25, your N is 25, so your N plus 1 times P will be 6.5, yeah? And the integer part of that is 6, right? So your Q hat at 0.25 will be okay, and if you work this out, you will get 2.1055, right? The next one is Q which is the median. So your P is 0.5, your N is 25, yeah, and your N plus 1 times P is 13. The integer part is also 13, right? So Q hat is Q, so X at 13 plus 13 minus 13. Alright, and if you work this out, you will get the answer 2.8957. Alright, that will be the median. And similarly, you can work out your Q hat. Okay. Alright guys, so can you do question 2 please now? Question 2. So do you all get this, guys? Yes or no? If it's no, just ask me when I come around. There's no need to copy because I'll scan the computer and put it online after the class. So I hope you can follow this.
Yeah, I'd say like, so basically, say you have like this number line and then you have like your quartiles for like this, say, then that's going to be like skewed in one direction. That makes sense. So if they're all spaced out equally to this metric, so I guess you work out like that difference and that difference is the same to like say so I'm guessing from here you want to check the difference between 0.Q has 0.9 and Q has 0.5. So that minus that is the same as that minus that. Because those both have those at the same side, there's like and probably also the same, so 0.5 minus 0.50 and then check at the same as 0.50 minus 0.50.
I had full notifications on Manchester, on Blackboard, I thought it'd been graded, but it wasn't.
Are you okay, sir?
Oh, that's why I'm very, yeah. Yeah, that means it's on the 8, very, yeah. So I don't know how to press fast, but I can press so it's not too much harder for you.
Guys, the 5-number summary means that I'll write it down. I'll write it down what this 5-number summary is so that you guys can see on the points on paper. The 5 Alright, these are the 5-number summaries. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Alright, the 5-number summary. The minimum, the first quartile, the median, third quartile, and the maximum. Anybody wants to hand in quiz 4? If you have done quiz 4, you can give it to me today. Alright, let me show you. I mean, the first part is trivial, right? Because we already done, right? X1 is the smallest data point, which is 29.14. Right? The Q hat at for the first quartile, right? P is 0.25. So your N is 20, right? N is 20. So N plus 1 times P is 5.25, and the integer part of it is, the integer part of that is 5. Yeah. So alright, and if you work this out, guys, you will get the answer 37.0325. Is that what you got? Yeah, that's the first quartile. Now the median, which is this is the median. So your P is 0.5, N is 20, N plus 1 times P is 10.5. The integer part is 10, right? Okay, so your Q hat at 0.5 is 10. 10.5 minus 10, 11 minus 10. And if you work this out, guys, you will get the answer to be equal to 41.186. Right, and the next one is the third quartile. The third quartile is Q hat at 0.75. So the P is 0.75, N is 20, N plus 1 times P is 15.75. And the integer part is 15. Right, so Q hat at 0.75 is 15. Okay, and if you work this out, guys, you will get the answer 44.01975. Right, so these are, and finally the largest data point. The largest data point is 51.261. So these are the 5-number summaries. So the 5-number summary is the minimum, first quartile, median, third quartile, and the maximum. Right. Okay. Alright, guys, the next thing you're asked to do is you're asked to find the sample mean and the sample variance, right? Alright, can I take this over? Yeah. Don't bother to copy it down because I will put this online. Part 2 is to find the sample mean. The sample mean, as all of you know, is the average. Alright, so you just add all the numbers. You just add all the numbers and divide by the total number. It will be 29.14 up to the last point, which is 51.261, and you divide this by 20, right? Yeah, and if you do that, you will get the sample mean to be 40.6942. Now the sample variance is, can you guys sign that on the sheet, please? Make sure you sign, all of you sign. The sample variance is given by this formula. Right, the divisor is n minus 1, not n. I corrected this in the lectures. I mean, originally I had written it as n, but it should be n minus 1. Right, this is the sample variance. And if you work this out, you will get the answer 30.54325. Right, and the sample standard deviation is the square root. So you take the square root. You take the square root of it, so you 30.54325, the square root of it. Right? Okay, guys. So remember the sample. This is the formula for the sample variance. This is the formula for the sample's standard deviation. And the divisor is always n minus 1, right? Not n. Okay. Part 3 is to draw the frequency table. Remember, when you say the frequency table, it means the following. You have basically 3 columns. The first column is the interval, right? The second column is the frequency, is the number of data points falling in each interval. And the third column is the density. So the intervals, if you read the question, guys, it says to choose intervals of width 5, right, from 25 to 55. So the obvious thing to do is the following. This will be the first interval. The second interval will be this one. The third will be this. The fourth will be this one. And the fifth will be this one. And the final one will be this one. So these are the intervals, right? And then for each interval you count how many of the data fall in each interval. So for the first interval there is only one data point. Second, there are 2. The third, there are 5. For the fourth, there are 8. All right? And the frequency should add up to the total number of data points, which is 20. Right? So all these numbers should add up to 20, as they should. Now the density column is simply the frequency column divided by the total number of data points. So this will be 1 divided by 20, 2 divided by 20, 5 divided by 20, 8 divided by 20, 3 divided by 20, and 1 divided by 20. And the density column should add up to 1, as they should, right? So all these numbers here should add to 1, right? Are you guys okay? So that's part 3, right? So a frequency table should look like this: 3 columns, intervals, frequency, and the density. Right? Easy. Now a histogram. A histogram. What I've drawn here, guys, is the density column versus the interval column. So it's the density versus interval, right? And this is what you get, right? Now, looking at it, what can you say about the shape of the distribution? Is it symmetric? Is it skewed? Is it skewed to the left or is it skewed to the right? Come on, guys, talk to me. Left, yeah, it's skewed to the left. So it's kind of skewed. All right, can you do question 5, please, now? Question 5. So question 3 and 4, we haven't covered the material. So can you do question 5, please? Science, sir. You don't look happy, why is that?
Yeah, pretty much.
You're fine. Are you okay? Are you there?
It's not like percentage, that's like, that's always like 100, because there's a bunch of
Can you do question 5, please?
but if you like, whatever they're called, like, things, you divide by 20 instead. So each of them is the thing divided by something else. Yeah. Because how many points are there in that range? Because if we multiply the number that you read off by the number in that range, that should be 40%. Okay. So which so this is 40 to 45 range, right? Is that what you're trying to make around? So in that you've got we've got 1, 2, 3, yeah. Okay. So if you can also what's that level of point? So I said what's no, but if you read off the bar, what's the point I'm not saying?
This time by
I understood how right, yeah, that's what I'm messing up. It's the density of work that's used for it. I think the reason is actually because it just comes as an example that sorry, I think that for example, the range for each of them is the same, right? They're all with 5. But on Instagram sometimes you can get some that are different sizes. So actually it's the area, not the height. In this case, that is the same as the kind of proportion of the height, because all the width is the same. Then sometimes they might be different. And it's actually the area that represents that. That's why. So if you multiply that 0.8 by 5, so that actually has area of 0.4. Yeah, sorry, I don't know what to use that.
Anybody else who hasn't signed that? Good. No, you always round down. Yeah, always round down. Alright guys, part 1. Again the 5 number summary. Alright, the first is the minimum. The minimum is 31. The next one is the first quartile. So your P is 0.25, your N is 18. N plus 1 times P is 4.5. Is that right? 16, yeah, 4.5, and the integer part is 4, right? So it's gonna be x4 plus 4.5 minus 4 multiplied by x. Right, this is what you get, and if you work this out, you will get 69.75. The next one is the median, right? So your P is half, your N is 18, your N plus 1 times P is 19 divided by 2, which is 9.5. Okay, and the integer part is 9, right? So right. So this is the formula that I'm using, and you work this out, you get the answer 78 for the median. Next, Q hat at the third quartile, which is Q hat at 0.75. Your P is 0.75. Your N is 18. So N plus 1 times P. Can you help me with this one, guys? What is N plus 1 times P for this? Is it? One does 4.5. Oh, is that right? This one, this is correct. 19 divided by 4 is, well, this should be 4.75, right? This is 4.75, so it should be 4.75. The answer is correct, though. What is N plus 1 times P for this? Can somebody help me with the calculator?
14.25.
14.25, yeah, okay. So this would be 14, right? So alright, and you work this out, you get 87.25. And finally, the largest data point, which is x sub, there are 18, right? This is the largest data point, and this is equal to 94, right? And you are also asked to find the IQR. Do you guys remember what an IQR is? What's the definition of IQR? It's the difference between the third quartile and the first quartile. Yeah. Do you remember that? Yeah. Okay. So the difference between the two numbers we computed so far is 17.5. Alright, now using these numbers, you should be able to draw what is known as the box plot, which I talked about in the class, you may remember some time ago, right? So basically, you should draw the box plot. Part 2 is to draw the box plot, right? It will look something like this, right? This is what you will get, guys. Okay. So the middle line here, this point here is the median. Okay. Right? Can you see this? Yeah. And this line here is the third quartile. So Q hat at 0.75. Right? And this line here is the first quartile, Q hat at 0.225. Right? And now let me check your memory. What's the distance between these two lines? I mean, this small bar and the big bar. What's the distance between the two? Do you remember what that is? The distance of this bar from this bar equal to, come on guys, this is equal to what? 1.5 times IQR, right? We have already worked out the IQR, so you just multiply that by 1.5. And the same thing here, the distance from this to this, right, is 1.5 times, this is 1, right? IQR, alright? So you see, all we have used, you can't see it now. Okay, hope now you can see it better. So using the first quartile, the median, and the third quartile, and the IQR, you should be able to draw the box plot, and that's what we have done, right? All you need is just 4 numbers: first quartile, median, third quartile, and the IQR, right? You have that, right? All right. Any questions, guys? Yeah. All right. Now the third part, part 3 of question 5. So we are done with that. Returning to this, part 3. Part 3 is asking you to compute the mean and the SD. The mean, the sample mean turns out to be 75.06. The standard deviation the sample standard deviation is 16.54, and the median is 78. Right? Now, using these 3 numbers, you should know what kind of distribution you're dealing with. Now, for a symmetric distribution, if a distribution is symmetric, you must have the sample mean equal to the sample median. All right. This must be true if a distribution is symmetric. But here, what you see is the sample mean is 75.06. The sample median is 78. They are not even close, right? So and it's skewed. Is it skewed to the left or the right? You tell me. You should go back to the box plot. See, this is the box plot. Is it skewed to the left or right? Which side is it skewed? You should be able to. Is it left or right?
Left.
Left. Okay, so it's skewed to the left. Yeah. Right. So that's how you do it. Question 5. Can you do question 6, please? Question 6. Question 6 is you should be able to do that now. Question 6 and 7. Yeah, maybe so. It's yeah, that's it. Maybe it's the wrong plot, but it's just an illustration. So yeah, maybe the plot is wrong. I don't know. I have to check it later. Yeah. Yes. You just take the inverse of the sequence. You remember this one that I to find the quantile, what you have to do is find the inverse function. I will do that in a minute. So give me some time. All right, guys. Look, we only got a couple of minutes left. Let me show you how to. She could be here with me. I know it's Thursday, but you should give me a couple of minutes. Let me do question 6. Right? We are told that x has this distribution. So the CDF is this. Now you standardize both sides. Right? Now, from what I said in the lectures, what distribution will this have? This will have the standard normal distribution with parameters 0 and 1. and this will be phi x minus, right? Where phi is the CDF of n01. Now to do part 2 is to find the quantile function. If you were in the lectures this morning, you would know to find the quantile function, you need to solve the equation that this is equal to p, where p is a number between 0 and 1. So this is the same as saying that phi at x minus mu by sigma is equal to p. Right? Now you should apply the inverse function. I'm sure you know what the inverse function is. You should apply the inverse function to both sides. Yeah? This is what you will get. Where phi minus 1 is the inverse function of phi. So this, the left hand side becomes x minus mu by sigma equal to this, right? Okay, and if you rearrange this, you get x equal to mu plus sigma times phi inverse of p. So in other words, the quantile function at p is equal to mu plus sigma times phi inverse of p. Okay? Alright guys. And part 3 is not difficult to do, so you should be able. So this is how I mentioned this briefly in the lecture this morning. To find a quantile function, you set the CDF equal to p and solve for x in terms of p. That's what we have done here. Right? Alright, so I will see you guys next week. But if you have any questions, just send me an email or email me at 24/7. And you have any of you done quiz 4, you can give it to me now.
Still fancy.
Have you done the thing?
No, because I've got the mouth practice thing.
Thank you, man. Thank you. Thank you.
What?